What's up, everybody? This is Logan Hanks with the Living Fully Loaded podcast. Got my bro and sometimes co-host Brandon Meyer on the show. Welcome back.
It's good to be back.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It has been a minute. We keep meaning it's so hilarious. We always talk about this. Like, it's funny that it's been a minute because you live like 6 minutes from me.
Yeah. We talk about it every time, even if it's not on the air, about just even being that close, like the scheduling conflicts. Like, it's different when you're married and got kids. It's tough to plan out.
Yes, it is.
Especially on a work night, getting over here and recording.
Yeah.
But we managed to make it work.
Oh, yeah. You know, you sacrifice a little sleep. But, yeah, we got kind of a smorgasbord for you guys tonight on this episode. You know, we like to chase some different rabbit holes. There was a movie I was actually going to ask you about. Dang it, man. I was trying to remember. It was crap. I'm drawing a blank right now, right off the bat on the movie. Have you, I guess I'll throw the ball to you then. Have you watched any new films as of late?
I did watch the new Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see it got nominated for Best Film?
I did not see that. I don't really keep up with the awards or nothing. I don't
either, but I saw on Instagram, like, one of the news things was like non-woke Top Gun nominated. It was kind of like a lot of people were shocked because it's like, wow, this is not a woke
pro-America.
Yeah. And dude, as weird as Tom Cruise is, that dude is a gangster. Did you see, the new Mission Impossible that's coming out? He does all his own stunts.
Yeah.
Did you see the stunt that he's doing in it? They had I don't remember how many times they videoed it or filmed it, whatever. But he rides a dirt bike off a ramp into, like, basically the Grand Canyon, and he free falls for like a certain amount of time, and then he throws his own parachute and has to, like, paraglide or whatever through the canyon. And he legitimately does it. Like,
no, I hadn't seen that. That's not surprising though. That's, like you said, he does all his own stunts. You've seen all the Mission Impossibles, all the stuff he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
No, he is a goofy ass dude, but he's a really good actor.
He is, man. I mean, I would actually venture to say he's probably one of the last true action stars.
Yeah, probably.
Because of that. Like, and they were talking, like, when Jack Carr had shared it, he shared the video. It was like a 9-minute video on Instagram. And they were talking about doing this stunt. Like, he practiced on a dirt bike jumping. I think they said, like, it was crazy. It was like 10,000 jumps on a dirt bike to, like, he wanted it to look incredibly natural. Yeah. And then he skydived like 1,200 times to, like, master skydiving
stuff.
Yeah. And so then they get into this, like, they film the first stunt jump, and he like nails it. And he comes back over the thing, and he's like, I think I can free fall longer. I want to do it again. And, like, the director and all them, when all of it goes well the first go round, they're all like, oh, thank God. They're like breathing, because they're like, if this goes wrong, Tom Cruise is going to die. And he's like,
and this movie's done.
Yes. And he's like, nah, let's do this one again. He ends up doing it like 12 times. And I'm assuming they just have a stash of dirt bikes, because the dirt bike has to, like, basically disintegrate when it hits the ground.
Oh, yeah. That's like the Dukes of Hazzard. You see, like, all the Chargers they had that were, like, just demolished. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of hurts my feelings too, because now you can't find
them
one.
Damn things. Yeah.
Yeah, they used to
not for under $100,000 anyway.
No, they used to just tear them up for fun in the videos, movies and stuff. So, but no, the new Mission Impossible, I'm pretty stoked to see it. But, man, I don't know. I still tend to be a creature of habit, and I resort to my classics. We showed, and the language was probably, in hindsight, probably not real great for the kids, but we did show the kids a classic the other night.
What's that?
Kindergarten Cop.
No. Man, it's been a long time since I've seen that, but that's a good movie too.
It is, man. I love that movie.
But I sent my wife an Instagram reel the other day. It's a guy, and he's like, I can't, he's what exactly how he words it, but he says something like, I never truly understood this Arnold Schwarzenegger quote until I became a parent. And then it goes to that scene in Kindergarten Cop when he's like, shut up.
Yeah. I thought you were going to go with there is no bathroom.
No, and there's another one. It's the same dude. It was like, I never understood this Adam Sandler quote until I became a parent. And then it's the one from Big Daddy when he's like, all right.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's classic. That is classic. Well, speaking of movies, that actually will lead us into, I guess we can start with this one actually. Let me get this thing loaded up. I got a audio clip that I want to play from it. Here it is. Make sure I got it at the right part. YouTube is really weird.
You're going to have a damn ad come up.
Yep. But they're really weird about copyright. And it's kind of crazy. It doesn't work the same on a podcast.
Really?
Yeah, like Bobby Lee and I have played on Talk Dirt to Me several clips. They never get flagged.
Maybe you just haven't got caught yet.
Maybe. I'm tempted to jam some Led Zeppelin or no, Metallica would be the one to find out because they would like sue me.
Oh, yeah. You'd get hammered.
Yeah. All right, here we go. So this clip circulates on the internet pretty regularly, and it is classic. It's from the movie Secondhand Lines, and it's my favorite quote.
In the bar?
Yep.
Yeah, I love that movie, but I love that scene too.
Oh, it is the best. And the thing that I want to talk about on here, like we cut up a lot on the show, but like integrity, kind of being a man, that is something that I do. I mean, I hold near and dear to my heart. And so this clip sums it up, and I got something I'll point out, but I'm going to point out afterwards. So I'm going to play the audio for you. You won't be, I mean, you can Google it or YouTube it, whatever. But here you go.
Go get some beers.
So the little punk dude's walking over
Hey,
here.
old man. How's that barbecue? Give me some.
We're busy. Before we get lost, all right?
What did you say?
Here's a perfect example of what I've been talking about. Since this boy was suckling on his mama's tit, he's been given everything but discipline. And now his idea of courage and manhood is to get together with a bunch of punk friends and ride around irritating folks too good-natured to put a stopper to it.
Hey, who do you think you are, huh?
Just dumb kid, huh? Dumb kid. Right. Hug McCann. I fought in 2 world wars and countless smaller ones on 3 continents. I led thousands of men into battle with everything from horses and swords to artillery and tanks. I've seen the headwaters of the Nile and tribes of natives no white man had ever seen before. I've won and lost a dozen fortunes, killed many men, and loved only one woman with a passion a flea like you could never begin to understand. That's who I am. Can I go home, boy?
I love that freaking part.
Yeah. I like after that when he kicks all their ass.
yeah. I do too. But I love that whole little monologue about who the dude is. Of all of the stuff that he does in there, I remember the first time I saw it, the part that stood out to me was the part where he says, and I loved one woman.
Yeah.
Like, I just remember, man, I was like, that to me is, I don't know, that's like the core of being a man to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you have the one woman that means the most to you anyway.
Yeah. Like well, the way I kind of look at it, it's like, and this is what I guess I've always said, because, you know, you got your dudes out there, and it's not a dig. If somebody's listening to the show and you got a 2,500 notches on your belt, whatever, you know, I'm not hating on you. If you're a fan of the show, I'm not hating on you, but the thing that I've always said, like the guy that brags about how many women that he slept with, I've always just said, man, it'd be so easy to be like you.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one thing I'm like, okay, of all things in today's culture that mean nothing, sex is like at the top of that list.
Yeah.
Like, you get on Instagram, social media, any of them, Like half the women you see on there, they've got an OnlyFans page
That's what
now.
I'm saying, OnlyFans.
Like
There's literally apps to go find people
sex
to bang. Yeah.
just for sex. Like
Yeah.
no strings attached, just for sex. Like sex means nothing in this world today. So it's like, how is that like a bragging statement? And that you've slept with a bunch of people. To me, a more bragging statement would be, I have only ever slept with my wife.
Yeah.
Like that to me, because one, I mean, it just is the truth. You cannot, a guy that has slept with a lot of women can never be like the man that has only ever slept with his wife.
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't do it. Like, it don't matter. You know, you can, I'm not saying if you've lived a life of like going rowdy and doing all that, that you can't, you know, turn your life around. But at the end of the day, you can't take back the women that you slept with.
Yeah. Yeah. And to kind of add to that, he was talking about only loving one woman. I was thinking not to dig in anybody. I know a lot of guys that have been married, happily married, and then divorced and happily married again.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, nothing wrong with loving more than one woman. It just wasn't the right one for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, man, I mean, what is the divorce rate? Like 52,
Super high,
53%? It's like, you know, it is statistically a better chance that you will get a divorce than you will stay married.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I know some people that their marriage failed because their spouse cheated on them or something like that. And, you know, look, I hope I'm never in that situation. Like, it's easy to be like, you need to work through that.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not in the situation.
Oh, yeah.
But like, you know, I do also think a lot of people, one of the things that just really just trips me out though, is when people say, I just fell out of love, you know, like, or we just didn't love each other anymore. And it's like, well, that's because you choose to freaking
You gotta work at it.
Yeah, you don't just, love isn't a feeling that you wake up to every day. I mean, you gotta, you make effort to it. Like that's one of the things Marcy and I try to do, and we've done pretty good at it for probably over the last year, is just doing at least one date night a month. Like, and that don't sound like much. I mean, it's not much. One night a month, we do an intentional date where we go out and just enjoy being with each other, because like, especially once you have kids, you know, I had an old boss of mine one time, he told me, it was actually right when I got married. He said, man, I'm going to give you some advice. I said, all right. And he goes, never stop dating your wife. He said, once you get married, he said, man, y'all need to, it'll go once a month, once a week, whatever. He was like, you need to go on a date with your wife. Because he said, what happens a lot of times, people get married, they have kids, and then their whole world revolves around their kids. And he said, and then their relationship even revolves around their kids. And he said, to the point that at some point your kids are going to grow up and they're going to move out. And he said, and when that happens, you don't even have like he was like, you literally live with a stranger at that point.
Yeah.
Like you have no relationship with them. So it was something like, I've remembered that well. And I mean, that's what Marcy and I have talked about that a lot. It's like, you know, that's why we make intentional dates and stuff, because, you know, thinking about that, it's like, I could see that. I could see how that happens.
Yeah. I'll be the first to admit that my wife and I are guilty of that to a degree. We still try to have date nights, but they're more sporadic. We don't do once a month. But we'll be like, man, we hadn't had a date in a while. Let's try to do something this weekend or next weekend. A lot of our problem, I think, is like my parents and my in-laws both watch our son throughout the week while we work. So then when it comes time to like, let's try and get a babysitter Saturday night so we can go on a date, well, I like almost feel guilty asking them like, hey, what you doing Saturday? Oh, that's cool. You mind watching my kid for me? So we don't do it as often as we should, but we still try to make date nights. And while you were saying that, it made me think of it. This sounds goofy for anybody listening, but it's our thing. We send each other memes and reels all the time. And that's kind of, I guess to say, keep the spark going. Like, and they're usually dumb stuff. Like it'll be some dumb video, like I said, about the kids or, and that sounds goofy, but that's kind of like it's different from like, what time are you getting off? What do you want to do for dinner? Are you picking him up or am I?
Yeah.
Can you bring me some toilet paper? You know?
Yeah. You bring me some toilet paper.
I've sent that text a couple times. Yeah, I mean, it's still, I mean, that sounds goofy, I know, but it's just kind of like our thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, that Marcy and I, when she works, we text all day.
Yeah.
Like when she's able to get, like, after she kind of does her duty, her rounds on the nursing schedule, you know, she'll shoot me a text. We just stay in contact. I've thought about that. I'm like, man, we talk, like, again, it's sporadic because she's at work and I'm off doing something, but I mean, I'm farming. I can usually do whatever, but like, we stay in contact all day. So yeah, man, I definitely get that. I mean, people just, a lot of men, I think, probably get to the point where it's like, once you're married, the pursuit is done.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I mean, heck, man, by nature, men, we were like the hunter gatherers. I mean, part of the fun and kind of relationships and doing all that is the pursuit. I mean, like that makes it
chase,
fun. Yeah. I mean, so yeah, like, I don't know, man, you gotta keep that alive, but that's what I think a lot of guys throw the towel in. I mean, just like with everything, but I think a lot of them throw the towel in on marriage. And I also do recognize that there are instances where the dude does not want their marriage to end. And the woman's like, no. And I mean, it takes two to tango. So,
yeah,
you know, if the other party won't at all try to salvage it, then it's unsalvageable at that point. But, I don't know, man. I just really, even getting away from like even the divorce aspect, just the fact that we live in a culture where sex is so meaningless. Like, I still think the dude that's the man's man is the guy that's like, I've only ever been with one woman. Like, I've loved one woman my whole life. And it's like, who's going to tell this guy, I get it's a movie, but who's going to tell this guy that he's not a man because he's only loved one woman? He's killed like handfuls of men. And like, he's a hard ass by every definition of a hard ass. So I just, man, like, that's what I want to see, kind of the turnaround in manhood. And I mean, and part of that I think starts with dads, because, you know, look, all right, me and you are both red-blooded, just, you know, blue-collar men. Like, I mean, I've always said God knew what he was doing when he created the woman's body, because I'm like, man, that is a masterpiece, you know.
Yes.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
But, and so dads, a lot of times, you know, we're guilty. Like, I mean, my son is 4, he'll be 5 next month. Girls ain't even on his radar. Like, I'll joke with him. He is in love with his teacher. And I'm like, all right, you know, because it's a woman. I'm like, nice. Like, he writes like, I love you on his paper. He'll put, I heart you. He has learned how to write all that. He'll put, I heart you on there like crazy. And I'm like, there you go, man. Good job.
Get after it, bud.
Yes. And, you know, it's okay to encourage kind of like playfully, but at the same time, man, honestly, you know, there's a lot of dads that like almost encourage their son to be like promiscuous with sex.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a buddy the other day about it, and we were talking about James Bond. I said, you know, I wonder, because we were talking about this exact thing. We had actually both seen that thing from Secondhand Lines. And I said, you know, I wonder if some of this started even with like James Bond, because James Bond was like the man's man. And every James Bond movie, he sleeps with 1 or 2 different women.
Yeah.
Like, he's
even the ones from way back in the day.
Yes. He's a ladies' man. Yeah, oh yeah, I'm talking about the Sean Connery ones. I mean, I liked the Daniel Craig ones, but I'm a Sean Connery 007 fan myself. But every one of those, man, he slays the ladies. And which my buddy was telling me, he read the books.
I would say I haven't read them, but I've heard the books are much worse than the movies are.
Yeah, he's gay.
No, yeah.
No. But No, he was married. Do you know James Bond was married?
No, I didn't know that.
I did not either. And apparently his wife dies in the books. And spoiler alert, but you've had since 1960 to read them. So
how long ago did those come out?
You're like, what is that? I'm not even going to begin. That's like nearly 70 years or something. Like you've had a long time to read. Not 70, 60 something years to read them. But because I'm thinking it was in the 60s when those came out. But anyways, he said he was married. His wife died. And like essentially he talks about in the book that he only ever loved one woman. It's kind of a similar thing. And he actually says most of the time in the books, he sleeps with these women in order to get information out of them. Like he's essentially playing the part. I mean, like, I was thinking about that when he was telling me. I'm like, man, everybody bitches about their job, like roles that you got to do. And I was like, man, poor 007. Like he's got
guy's not bitching about his job.
Yeah, he ain't complaining. It's like he's going and he's like, damn it, I got another bombshell beauty that I have to romance and crack to get some information out of her. What a terrible night. Like, But I did think that was interesting. I had never heard that about the
I'm working myself to death.
Yeah.
My back's going out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's what he. He was supposedly married and his wife died, and that's what he said. He was able. To him, it was all just part of the job.
Yeah.
So it was interesting, but that's what I got to thinking. I was like, I wonder if that's some of the decline. Like, again, I love the movies. I'm not like blaming them. And again, it's a movie. Like, it's kind of like when Kurt Russell was asked about gun control. This guy, Kurt Russell's a big libertarian and he's pro-gun. And like they asked him, it was, I think when he did Hateful Eight or one of them, the dude asked him like, do you think that your films using firearms encourages gun violence kind of thing? And he was like, it's a movie. He was like, it's not real. He said, if you can't watch a movie and say that and realize it ain't real, he was like, then you are messed up in the head. He was like, it's not reality. And so that's kind of, I could see that front on James Bond. Like that'd be, somebody could take that stance. But at the same time, the media and mainstream does kind of shifts mindsets to a degree. And so like if you see a guy on TV and he's slaughtering women and he is like the man, he's like the iconic man, I could see where it would make a guy be like, in order to be the man, I got to sleep with a bunch of women.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of any relevant TV shows or movies that are like that, but there's nothing just popping out in my head. The thing I think of is I don't look up and think, man, that guy's a man, is like The Bachelor.
Oh, gosh, yes. Gosh.
That's not the image I get in my head from that show. But
No, that show, oh, gosh, no.
I've never watched one bit of it.
I have seen some of it because my wife used to watch it a good bit, and I had watched some of it, and it is as bad as you would imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's terrible. Like, that's what I told my wife when we watched it. I'm like, every night this guy makes out with the different chick in the hot tub. I'm like, and these other chick are all like, they're like crawling for this guy. And I'm like, he's making out with a different chick every night. I'm like, why are these women flocking to this guy?
Right. If that were any other dude, they'd be like, that guy's a piece of shit.
They would. That's what I'm like, this doesn't even make any sense. But he's such a great guy, and they just desperately want to be with him.
That just goes to show how far TV's fallen.
Oh, yeah. Well, social media has been like such a terrible. Well, I'll share a story, and actually I shared it on Talk Dirt to Me, but it's very applicable. That is a hard word to say. I struggle with that word.
Applicable.
I don't like emphasizing stuff. I guess I want to have like that southern laziness.
Yeah, that southern drawl.
Yeah, so I'm like applicable. But applicable story that helped me realize that like the times they are changing. What is the quote? You either change with the times or the times change you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I just don't know where I fall into that mix, because I'll tell you, so the other day my phone had messed up. I busted the screen, so I had to get a new phone. Man, and kudos to Samsung. I got online, I ordered my phone, and it was at my house 18 hours later.
Commie.
Dude, it was crazy. What, you got an iPhone?
Yeah.
Oh, you China man.
I'm the iPhone army. Whatever. It's the American brand.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but it was at my house in 18 hours. I was like, wow, man. And it had an American flag on it when I opened it up. But the service was dropping. The next day I went to my Traco and it kept losing service. And I was like, what the crap? So I was out in Bolton area. So I said, I'm going to run to the Millington Verizon store over here. So I ran, let's see, let me make sure. I'm going to cut us. Yeah, I did plug that thing in, making sure. Sorry, guys. I ran over to the Verizon store, and, dude, I have, on my Instagram, it says a dinosaur in modern times. And that's what I do. I feel like that a lot of times. I don't know that I have ever quite felt as much as I did the other day. Man, I walked into the Verizon store. All right, it was a dude and a chick that worked there. And it was a dude and a chick that were being waited on. They were separate. They were not together. Well, the Verizon store there in Millington's really weird. Like, you walk in, it's really open. Have you been in that one?
Which one? The Verizon store where?
In Millington, like right in that strip.
Yeah. Over there by Starbucks and...
Yep. GameStop. Yeah. So it's really a weird layout. Like, you walk in, there's chairs way over on the other side. And then the two little desks here where they help you. So I walked in and they're helping them. So I'm like kind of piddling around because I mean, it's seriously like a 30-yard walk to the other chair. So it's just an awkward layout. And so I'm kind of looking at the cases and the dude comes walking up and the guy is, I mean, you know, no offense to people. I don't even know why I'm saying that. It's living fully loaded. I don't care. But the dude was gay as a $3 bill that worked there. I mean, he was flaming and he had his nose pierced. Like, when I saw that, I was like, yeah, he's gay. But then he talked and I was like, he's gay. But he said, can I help you? And I said, yeah, man, my phone keeps dropping service. And he was like, okay, well, you know, they'll do that sometimes. And I was like, okay, yeah, well, I need it not to. I was like, I need my service. I said, I'm expecting some calls later. I said, I got to have service. I said, my old phone never did this. And he was like, yeah, man, you know, and he kind of just said some more excuses. I just stood there and I was like, so can you fix it? I was like, are you going to look at it and figure out why it's doing this? And he was like, yeah, I mean, I guess we can't. Like, he was like exasperated with the fact that it's like, I need you to fix my damn phone. That's why I came here. And I said, okay, yeah. He said, as soon as I finish with this person, I'll help you out. I said, all right, thanks. So I go to walk over there, and as I'm making the walk, the woman that he was waiting on a woman. She was probably in her 30s. She was not a bad-looking woman. And that woman turns to the other woman who works there, and she goes, I'm in a polyamorous relationship. And I was like, I started to Google it because I had no idea. I don't
know what that means.
I had never heard of it.
More than one partner.
Oh, trust me, I learned about it.
Yeah.
But yes, that's what because she said, do you know what that means to the other chick? And the chick goes, I don't guess I do. And she said, it means we have multiple partners when we have sex. And I mean, she was talking basically the tone me and you were talking right now in the middle of a Verizon store. And
like, that's just hilarious to me, like, just out of the blue. I'm in a polyamorous relationship.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of conversation I missed before I walked in there, but yes, it apparently, I guess it had opened the door for this. And that's what she said. She goes, yeah, I'm in a polyamorous relationship. The girl's like, I don't know what that means. And she says that, you know, we have multiple sex partners. And the girl goes, hey, it's 2023, baby, you know, do whatever you want to do. And that quote made me like cringe. Like I almost was like in Me, Myself, and Irene when he swaps to like Hank, I was like, you know, like struggling to not say something.
Yeah.
I wanted to quote. Well, hold on. I can't bust this part out yet. So then she gets to talking. Her and that other chick get to talking about the types of women that they like to crack. So apparently the woman that works at Verizon is also, I don't know if she's polyamorous, but whichever way the wind blows, she tends to go, I guess. And they were talking about their types of women. And I was just sitting, I'm just thinking, I'm like, what in the hell, what have I walked into? I'm like, I just walked into a Verizon store. Like, what in the world is going on here? Like, I've walked into like a gay orgy going on in here. And like the dude that, I feel bad for the guy that's being waited on by the chick, because he like never says a word.
He's probably thinking the same thing you are. I was like, I just want my phone fixed.
Yes. Oh yeah. Well, dude, so that guy, she finishes up helping him. He leaves and she's like, I can help you out, sir. So I walk over there, and I'm a people guy, man. I like to talk to people. I like to cut up with them. Nah, I was very much like, my phone doesn't work. Like, I was like, let's
You
get
were in
this.
like robot mode.
Yeah, I was like, let's get this shit over with and get out of here. And she was like, what's going on? I was like, it just keeps dropping service. And she's like, where at? And I told her, I said, over here at Bolton. She goes, oh, I live over by there. And I said, okay, yeah, I'm just working over there. And she's like, yeah, I live right by there. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm just working over there. I just need my phone to work. And then she goes, yeah, I need mine to work. I got to call and make sure it's going to be good because I need a better effing job. And I was just like, okay, all right, that's nice. And
neat.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I should have I wish I'd have had glasses on and I could have like pulled them off and been like, you're on Undercover Boss, you're fired. But, dude, it was, she goes, I said, so it's nothing wrong with my phone? And she was like, no, it's nothing wrong with your phone. It's a tower went down over there. And I was like, okay. And I said, that's all I need. And I got up and left. And I was like, man, it was so odd.
You're like, I'll just drive to Cordova next time.
Yes, anywhere but there. But I did have a quote that popped in my head. Oh, man, it was one of those, are you familiar with Matt Gaetz?
Yeah.
All right, he said be offended. He's the be offended guy. So I had a be offended quote pop in my head that I was like, boy, because my world was being rocked. Like whenever they were saying this stuff, I was like, what? Like my brain was like, what? Like, what is going on right now? Like I saw a woman with her little girl come walking down the sidewalk, and I thought they were about to come in here, and I was like, no! Like I was thinking like, don't come in here. But dude, yeah, it's like, please don't come in here. It's a bloodbath. But I had the quote from The Predator at the beginning pop into my head, and I was like, I wonder what they would do if out of the blue, and I'm going to edit it a little bit because there are some words that I just don't think that I should say on air forever. And that is at the beginning when he's passing around the chewing tobacco, nobody wants it. I was like, I wonder what they'd have done if I just went, it's a bunch of slack-jawed blanks around here. Dude, could you imagine?
You'd be my hero if you did that.
I'd be News Channel 3. I'd have been on the news later that night. Oh, man.
Like, this bigot.
Yes, he is a homophobic bigot. Like, which if they listen to this episode and hear me talk about the dude being flaming as a $3 bill, they'd probably think that. But, I mean, I'm just calling it like I see it.
Yeah.
He was gay as hell. But if you don't remember what that quote is, you just need to YouTube.
Easily the best quote from that whole movie.
Now, that's a bold statement, though. I mean, that's a pretty, because if it bleeds, we can kill it. It's pretty iconic.
But I remember that one from when I was a little kid, like laughing at that one. Like, I thought it was hilarious when I was a kid. Oh,
I've got it on my phone.
That's what you need to do. You need to put that on a shirt.
I have said that. That was like, man, imagine if that was on a shirt. Like,
I'd buy it.
Oh, dude, you don't realize.
Now, you wouldn't be able to wear it out in public very much unless you want to be crucified, but yeah.
Well, and there's a part of me.
It'd be fun at parties.
It would be but I never go to parties.
Yeah.
If I do, it's all like
like-minded
individuals. Yeah, I wouldn't walk in and somebody wouldn't be like, "What the hell, man? What is that?" Like they'd have been like, "Dude, I need that shirt."
Yeah, they'd be like, "Man, that shirt's awesome."
Yes, like, but no, that you don't realize like the amount of self-control it's taken for me right now to not play it because it's on my phone, and I mean the Bluetooth is paired. Like I could scroll this up right here and I could play it, and it wouldn't be me saying it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep, I probably shouldn't play it though. Probably shouldn't play it. I mean, it was on a movie.
Yeah, it's just a quote from a movie, and it's a horror movie at that. They do a lot worse stuff in horror movies.
They do. Horror movies are very gay, actually. A lot of times.
Yes.
Like
everyone that dies in horror movies is gay.
That's true. That's true, man. They're either a woman that gets cracked or it's a gay dude.
Yeah.
You know, I did hear that Game of Thrones people were coming under fire for killing all the gays. Did you know that?
I mean, I've watched that whole thing all the way through, and I mean, there's gay people that die in it, but there's a shit ton of people that die in that show.
Well, there's like apparently some people were really pissed, and they said they just killed off the gays. They killed off the gay. Dude. All right, look. I've said this many times. I'll say it again on the show. If you want to do whatever you want to do in your own home, I don't care. I don't care. Like, I don't care. If you want to, I am seriously the type of guy, like, if you want to smoke a joint and shoot a machine gun with your boyfriend because you're a homo in your house, I don't care. But it's when you start trying to force it down my throat that, like, it gets annoying to me. Like, especially, all right, every show that comes out now, they got to check off the boxes. They got to have the gay in it. And I mean, that's like, I'm sure you've seen the trailer for that 90s show. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
I knew as soon as I saw the trailer, I was like, I was kind of intrigued, but I'm like, which it's almost comical. It was like they got a white guy, a white girl, a black girl, a black, like they got an Asian. They like were like, all right, we got to be sure we have every ethnicity represented here.
Isn't it supposed to be the grandkids?
I think so. Well, no, because Fez doesn't have kids in it.
Does he not?
No, because I saw like he's like a hairdresser or something now, but one of the chicks is gay or something. Or no, one of the characters is gay. Because I like me and Marcy were reading about it the other night. I was like, I would bet serious money that one of the characters is gay. Googled it, and it was like the queer character of that 90s show. And I'm like, called it, knew it. I mean, like, it doesn't matter, man. Every show that comes out, you could put out, I guarantee you, if they remade Sons of Anarchy today, like, Opie would be gay. Like, it'd be like, and it doesn't, that's where it's frustrating.
I don't know if Sons of Anarchy would, because Sutter was... I mean, if there was a gay character, they probably would die like a brutal death. It's Kurt
no,
Sutter.
But that's what I'm just saying. It would see. This is my frustration with it. It's never. It doesn't make sense. The Walking Dead had like 5 gay people, and I'm like, look, this is gonna sound mean, but in the apocalypse, the gays are gonna die pretty early on. Like, I mean, look, all right, is there some badass homo dude out there? I've seen the dude on Naked and Afraid that's gay, and he's like a survivalist. You know, he would probably still be alive. Is there going to be 5 of them in like one small radius? No, they're going to die. Like
one of that many gay people in the population.
I don't know. According to media, like 62% of us are gay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know, the majority are gay. But it's just
by that math, one of the people at this table's gay. And
that's true. Or maybe both of us.
Maybe.
We might both be gay. But no, it doesn't. That's where I'm like, man, look, all right, if you made a show about male hairdressers, I would probably expect the majority of them to be gay. Yeah. But if you make a show about a hardened biker gang, don't slip a gay in there just to check the box. Like, it just... I don't know, like, be realistic. Like, that's what I want to just be realistic. Yeah. Like, if I'm watching a show, I'm not going to be mad if there's a gay person in there if it's actually, like, it makes sense. Again, like, if it's a I mean, I keep talking about a male hairdresser. Sorry if there's a barber listening. You know, barbers, they were legit.
Logan's anti-barber.
My mother is a beautician. Now she's a woman, and but yeah,
My wife is also.
Yes, your wife is. Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, I'm sure you know some probably some dudes that are gay that are hairdressers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So statistically speaking, and that is kind of an interesting thing to think about in itself. Back in the day, a barber was like a man's job.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd stroke the leather, and I mean, he'd shave you with like the straight razor, and I mean, it was like, you were going and talking to like a man's man.
Yeah.
Now he's a man's man.
It's a little bit of a rarity, but I think she knows some dudes that are like that, like they went to go be barbers.
Yeah.
That are straight dudes.
Well, I guess they're, you see some of the like manly salons pop up, like the barber shops.
1776.
Yeah, you see that style, and
yeah.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, it's out there, but I don't know. I just get tired of all the, and it ain't. I hate to be picking on the gays here. It's like it's no different than if I like them wanting to make James Bond a woman. Like it's just stop trying to PC everything. Like we talked about Top Gun Maverick at the beginning. One of the reasons that movie kicked ass so much is because there was nothing political. There was no wokeness in it. Like it was just an entertaining as hell movie.
Yeah.
Like I didn't leave there and be like, damn it, they made Tom Cruise turn into a woman at the end of the movie. What the hell?
He had a sex change halfway through.
Like it just, man, I don't know. I just get so tired. And I think that's part of the reason why I resort back to just watching old movies.
Yeah.
Kindergarten Cop. The little kid goes, boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. Like I was like, right there. That wouldn't fly in today's movies.
Nope.
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know.
It almost makes you feel a little bad for the gay community. Because I like this whole topic we've been talking about it. We're not trying to bash gays. If you're gay, cool story, bro. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You do you. But it's like you said, it's just everywhere. Like they shove it down your throat and you're like, God dang, there's not that many gay people in the world. Like, I get you're trying to, represent a minority. But you're overreaching it here, bud. Yeah, you're like, I mean, per TV, the like straight conservative white man is like the most, one, we're the there's
most,
like three of us in the world.
There's three of us. We're insanely hated. Like, we're
insanely hateful.
Yeah, we're terribly hateful, which they'd probably listen to this episode and be like, you're damn right. But no, it's that's what I just want it to be realistic. Like, it's like, man, come on. Like, again, Walking Dead just tripped me out because it was like gay. Like, seriously, in like a span of one or two seasons, it was like 4 gay characters came onto the show.
Like, you mean to tell me there's 8 people left alive in the world and 4 of them are gay?
Hey, and I'm just going to tell you, from a repopulation standpoint, that is not good. Like,
somebody's going to have to bite the bullet.
Yes. Like, you ain't that gay. To counter quote our Tiger King, you ain't that gay. But man, I don't know. I just I'm like, the whole world in itself. We're in a weird time, and all that actually is a great segue to talk about the gays at ATF. I think the ATF, they're a bunch of gays in the worst of ways. Yes. I did see a shirt I almost ordered, and it said the ATF is poo-poo.
I saw that.
I almost bought it. I liked it.
I saw someone was standing over at the ATF area.
Yes.
At SHOT Show, and what did they call it? It said,
it was Alex Zedra that had the post.
Yeah, no, I saw that, but it was something somebody put up. God dang it, I can't remember what they made, like a new acronym for ATF, but it was something like fart area or something like that. And it was like, if you have to fart at SHOT Show, come over to this area.
It trips me out, man. In the post with Alex, you know, there's an ATF, because they're in front of the ATF booth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says ATF is poo-poo. And the woman that works at the ATF, she's like...
The black lady looking
she's
over at
like,
her.
Man, she's smug looking at him.
I saw that and was thinking, I was like, man, I wonder what that lady's thinking.
Yes, yeah.
You know, the people at that booth heard shit all week long.
I was shocked to see it. You know,
I thought about that. Like, could you imagine, like, if you were just a dude that worked at the ATF and they're like, hey, man, we're going to send you to SHOT Show. You're like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Dude.
You're like, man, I'm going to hear it this week.
Dude, it's kind of funny. I think back whenever we were graduating high school and I was trying to decide what I wanted to do. There was a part of me, I looked at the DEA and I was like, and maybe the ATF, because I was like, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms.
Yeah.
Like,
I used to do the same thing. Like, man, ATF is the coolest branch of government. Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. And now as an adult, I'm like, excuse my language, fuck the ATF.
Yes, I mean, yeah. Oh yeah, back then I'm like, I like all of those things. So yeah, that's definitely, I want to work at that agency.
Yeah.
And they're the
they're
worst.
like, oh, you like those things?
We're gonna take them away from
Yep.
you. Yeah, the alphabet boys over there.
Yeah.
No, and I am kicking myself, which I told you, I have been able to go to SHOT Show now. I guess this was like the third year. Now they canceled it the first year for COVID. When I got approved. The second year, it was just crap. And this year actually looked like it was awesome.
Yeah.
And I didn't go.
I've seen a lot of cool products on Instagram.
Yeah.
Did you see, to kind of get off track here, did you see PSA's making the STG 44? Like a STG 44
I did not.
clone?
I did not.
That looks pretty cool. And they're doing it in a bunch of different calibers, too. The big one is 22 long rifle, but they're making one in 5.56 too.
Well, when they put it out, I have to share it. This podcast is actually a PSA affiliate.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yep, good.
Man,
good
I'm gonna
plug.
need you to get me some PSA
That's
gear,
right.
bud.
Some Palmetto State Armory for everybody. I'll put a link in the description below. But yeah, no, dude, I like PSA. I actually want to try out the dagger. Have you seen it?
I have, and I have been super curious about it.
I was gonna.
There's a guy at work that said he's gonna buy one. He's like, I'm gonna just spend the money and buy one. He's like, I want to see, because I've heard a lot of people say they're good.
Yeah, I mean,
For a Glock clone, they're like, man, it's top notch.
Yeah, I was gonna buy, but I want the full size. I don't want the compact, and they were sold out. And it was like a heck of a deal. Back during Christmas, it was like $369 or something for the full size dagger.
They had a deal. It was like October, November, but they had like a 16-inch AR-15, and I mean, it was, plain Jane AR-15. It wasn't anything special with it, and a PSA dagger, and it was like $800 or something. I'm like, we're getting two guns for $800. I was like, that is a hell of a deal.
It is, man. It really is. And I like all the PSA stuff. I did something I'm really pumped up about. Franklin Armory is making a binary trigger for the Strybog or whatever, Strybog. I have the Strybog SPA 91, whatever it's called, the A1.
Yeah.
SP9A1.
9A1, I think. Yeah.
I've got it. And that's what I was thinking. I'm like, man, if there was a way I could make this thing fully automatic or as close to humanly possible, I would love to do it. And if I could do it legally and not have to do it illegally, that'd be even better. I mean, either way, I'm doing it. But, I just wanted to make sure it was doing it.
Yeah. If you drill that hole, you just be real quiet about it.
Yeah, I won't be putting that one on YouTube.
Yeah. Just get you a coat hanger.
Yeah. Yeah.
People that don't know guns are like, I don't know what the hell these guys are talking about.
Yeah, well, look, and that leads into something that I'm real pissed off about, and that's this recent bullcrap about the pistol braces. Like, as with a lot of the other people out there, I've used the AR pistols with the pistol brace, and I think it's a bunch of bullcrap because at the time of purchase, it's legal.
Yep.
And now suddenly the alphabet boys are saying it ain't legal.
They just made millions of Americans felons.
Yeah, I think we have, what do we have now, like 111 days or something to turn them in or something?
Yeah, turn them in or get them registered.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess to register them, though, don't you have to get the stamp?
Yes. Now, this is what I think. A lot of people, like these gun pages I follow, are like, they're fixing to get their ass tore up with lawsuits over this. And they're saying they know this. They are aware of this. What they're doing is trying to force a mass registration, because you have to do the tax stamp to register an SBR, and it's a $200 fee. Well, since they passed this law, they're like, you have 200 days or whatever to register this as an SBR, and we will waive the $200.
Oh, really?
It's free to register. And yeah, a lot of people are like, don't do it.
Yeah.
Because they know this is going to go to court and get overturned. All they're doing is like, let's see how many people we can get to register their guns.
Yeah. We'll see. And I'm in a weird boat because I've got a suppressor. So I'm already, like, the ATF can come and they could shit on my couch if they wanted to, and I couldn't do nothing about it. But when you get the suppressor, you have to buy the stuff.
In our typical fashion, I have to stop for just a sec. I have a meme to show you after this.
Okay, well, don't forget.
I gotta tell the people though, it's if you've seen Tremors.
Yeah, of course I've seen.
Yeah. You know, Burt Gummer's like the 2A hero.
Yep.
It's a picture of Burt Gummer, and he's holding this, like, you know, that giant ass punt gun he has, and he's like grinning ear to ear.
Yeah.
And there's like I can't remember, it's the Mexican dude from the movie, and he's like holding like his like cross necklace, like looks like he's praying.
Yeah.
And it says me when 4 black SUVs pulled out my driveway, and it says the Jehovah Witness that was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
You gotta send me that.
I thought it was hilarious.
That is hilarious. No, well that was, man, I was so conflicted because I always have wanted a suppressor.
Yeah.
But to get the suppressor, you know, you have to essentially create a trust kind of deal, or I mean, it's very registered. You got to buy the stamp and all that. And I mean, you give the ATF permission to come into your home anytime.
Yeah, you're paying the government their blood money to do something you should be able to do anyway.
Yeah, and the vampires have been invited in. Like,
yeah.
But I was telling Marcy, this is funny, we were actually talking about this last night. I remember how we got talking about guns, gun control, but I was like, you know, I do trip out about, we saw an armored truck. That's what it was. It was like a military truck at the red light, and Levi, the kids were with me, and I was joking around. I was like, yeah, Levi. I was like, that's who's going to show up when I get busted. You know, like if they make us felons, they're going to show up in that kind of ride. I said, and I'll have my cannon in the yard, and I'll go tally-ho and shoot a cannonball at it. And I told Marcy, I said, it makes me think of the classic little, and it was a meme, and it's talking about.
I know which one you're talking about.
Where they're like, you should only have the firearms that the citizens had at the time of the Constitution. And it's like me with my powdered wig at the top of the stairs as they come in and going, tally-ho, ladies. Yeah. Launching a cannonball.
The great shot shatters one man.
Yeah, it's like that's what I thought about. But I don't know, man. Like, I loved Red Dawn, the original, never watched the remake. And
nope.
I like Chris Hemsworth.
I do too. I like Josh Peck, but
I don't even know who that is.
That's the dude you remember from Drake and Josh?
Oh, yeah.
He's the little brother in the new one.
Oh, yeah, that sounds terrible.
I like him too, but you just can't remake Red Dawn.
You can't, man, look.
You can, but
you can't.
You're fighting an uphill battle with that.
You can't replace the Swayze.
Yeah.
Man, there's no way. There's no way. But I do think about that, and I've seriously thought about it. Like, you know, what would that, because look, I have some pretty stout firearms. Like I told you I've marked one rifle in particular off the bucket list that I was like, man, I mean, it's a hoss.
Yeah.
But I mean, in all seriousness, the problem with it is if like, let's say the military, the government really turned on us, the military, you would have guys leave. Like I've had this discussion with guys who were military, and I was like, man, who would?
Yeah, me too.
And they're like, you would have guys that would stay on the military.
The dudes that I've talked to said it would probably be 50-50. Like, you'd have a whole lot of dudes on our side, and you'd have a whole lot of dudes on their side.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the bad part is that side would be the side that they do have the tanks, they do have the jets. It would be crazy. I mean, it would be crazy. Like this is all purely hypothetical, obviously, but I talked to one dude that was like, no, we would have them too. Because he's like, a lot of that 50% that would be with us would be dudes that were way high up. And like, okay, well, all these planes and tanks are ours now. I hope they're right, because I know
I do too.
Tend to, like Jack Carr, he kind of talks a lot about the high level of military, the upper level management. I don't know what you'd call them, upper ranks,
command,
but
the brass.
He says that they failed upwards. And like he talks about how terrible they are. And I've talked to, Nikki that was in the military, and she talked about how terrible upper management and how liberal the upper management is.
How
and
they promote those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, now the thing I do know is like, because again, my brain, the way it is, I mean, I've already thought like, okay, if it comes to that, we got at least 2 bulldozers that we would be pulling into the shed, and I would just be it would become killdozers.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name now, but yeah, just remaking Killdozer.
Yep. I mean,
the difference is it would have guns mounted on it.
Yes. Like, no, that would be the thing, and I mean, you would see some, like, it would be rowdy, but it would not be this cool thing that we envision. Like, yeah. I'm as guilty as the next guy being like, hell yeah, man, let's get them.
Like we think of Red Dawn.
Yes. Like, it's like, yeah man, we'll get them. Wolverines, man, until like our wife gets shot in the head and we're trying to like
they carpet bomb like this entire area.
Yes. Like, I mean, and I've said this before, like one of the things I think about, like taxes, for instance. I mean, I staunchly hate taxes with a burning, flaming passion. If I knew that my tax dollars, I've said this many times, if I knew my tax dollars were going to legitimate, like if I knew the roads in our state were going to be repaved and repaired with my tax dollars, I'd be like, well, hey, at least my fellow Tennesseans and myself are going to benefit from the nice roads that we'll have out here. Like, that would make it a little better.
Anyone that doesn't live in this area that listens to this show, just drive down any road in Memphis and tell me how long it takes before you have a flat tire.
Yeah.
Like I've said numerous times, I don't know why anybody spends however much money to fly to Nevada and see the Grand Canyon when you can drive down any damn road in Memphis and see the huge ass potholes we have.
Oh yeah.
That have been here for as long as I've been alive.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you, man, I always find myself thinking about George Washington, and I'm like, man, they like literally started a revolution over, like, I think it was like 2% tax. And so I'm like,
and
man,
the ridiculous number we have now.
Oh yeah, like 19%. You're seeing, like, look, I don't hate rich people. Like, these people, they're like, the rich need to pay, and they're already paying like 40% in taxes. My gosh, man, like, you keep pushing it, you're gonna take away the incentive to even succeed, because it's like, why would
everybody like, this person needs to pay more? No, this person needs to pay more. No, this person needs to pay more. No, what we need is not a dumbass in charge that's going to budget this stuff correctly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love the idea of no taxes and letting private corporations take over, and just, at that point, capitalism would have to come into play. I mean, if your road was so terrible, then somebody would start a company and they would work on the road. Like, that's kind of the theory of capitalism behind it. Now, I mean, and capitalism is not perfect. I mean, I'm in farming. I see greed is like, I mean, today I had a conversation with a guy, and we were talking about money is like, it is the weapon and the poison. Like, I think people get into stuff with good intentions. I would venture to say a lot of politicians actually get into it, and their original thing is like, man, I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to do better for the world. And then they get in there and they start getting money thrown at them. They get bought by lobbyists and all this. And the next thing you know, I mean, the money has just corrupted them to the point that they're no longer who they are. But like, I really do think about, like I tell Marcy all the time, it's like, I'm just not going to pay taxes anymore. And like, I mean,
Wesley Snipes this.
yes, like I'm just not going to do it anymore. I'm like, somebody has got to take a damn stand. Like every now and then she'll catch me in one of my rare moods, and like I'll be like, that's right, I'm just not doing it no more. Damn it, I'm not paying these damn taxes. Like I'm done with this shit. Like, and I'll just be in my little mood, and I'm like, yeah, I'm like, somebody's got to take a damn stand. Maybe I'm going to be the John Connor of of our era. And but the problem with that is, all right, our government is so shady. Like, I mean, it's pretty well come out now that they killed Kennedy. You know, like, it's like, bro, they killed the president. They wouldn't think twice about coming out here. And like, like, what would happen to me? Let's say I actually did somehow start like a small revolt, and we're like starting to kind of gain a little traction. They're like, wow, this little dude in Podunk Town, Tennessee over here, he's starting to kind of jack with our tax game here.
Yeah.
Then
Logan would choke on his oatmeal one day or something.
That's what I was gonna say, man. I would be woke up in the middle of the night by dudes in black outfits, and I wouldn't know what was going on. I'd be duct taped in the mouth. Marcy would probably be like tranquilized in the bed, and then I'd wake up like in the movie Shooter with the gun to my head, and I'd be like, ah! You know, like they suicide me. Like that's the bad part about it is if you are enough of a disruptor, you will disappear. You will die. Like, I mean, so I don't know how you go about doing it, because the system is jacked. Like, taxes are stupid. What was the black guy that said the rent is too damn high? Like, that's how we're there with taxes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to give exact numbers over on air, but I looked last year what I paid in versus what I paid in this year, and I can't remember the exact dollar amount, but it was
substantially more.
Large. Yeah. I looked and was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, man, y'all are raping me to death over here. Like, we're just eroding the middle class away.
Oh yeah, man. Well, it's the bad part is I see it, and I'm like aware somebody needs to do something about this, but I'm like, I don't want to get suicided in the middle of the night.
Nobody wants to be the first guy.
Yeah, like I don't want to be the one that gets taken out. And so, I mean, the other side of it is like, okay, well, but then on the end of it is, I look at the guy. What was was it? Oh crap! What was the dude in like Nevada or Idaho or whatever? There was the rancher that stood up to the U.S. government.
The Bundys?
Yeah. What was his name? At first I was like, Al Bundy. And I'm like, no, it's definitely not Al.
No, it was the Bundy, though. I can't remember his first name.
Well, that one was pretty legit.
That was like some real shit.
That was. Like
you saw the pictures of the dudes on like the freeway overpass, like loaded out and barricaded up, like...
Yeah, they were like, come on, big brother, we'll jack your world up, man. Like, you think you run this shit? We run this shit. They were like, you got guns, we got more guns. Yeah. Like,
I read an interview, or not an interview, but it was like a retelling. It was like a reporter that was sent out there, and they were like, man, this was real close to being like a Ruby Ridge, Waco shit show, because they were like, they let me in, like the Bundy Ranch people, like let me in. They let me come interview, and they were like, there were so many people that we passed, like checkpoints, patrols, like they had dudes out in the woods, like waiting, like they were legit ready for this. Like, they were waiting on this shit to fire off, and I'm like,
the Bundys were ready. Yeah,
they were saying like they had dudes, like all these dirt roads getting on this property, like they had them shut down, barricaded.
Yeah.
They had dudes in the woods everywhere, like dudes up in deer stands waiting. And like they were ready for this.
Oh, dude, like, you know, and I think one of his sons got killed. Like they had like a shootout, and then I think he ran for governor or senator or something. I think he actually did pretty good, and his position was to eradicate all of the government agencies. Essentially, like there would be nothing, and I mean, look, I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's a very large part of me that, oh man, I love the fact that this dude stood up to the government. I mean, and he won. Yeah. Like it was like pretty much dismissed in court to the point like he beat the U.S. government.
They came in and like overtook City Hall, I think, too.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I've heard people that are like, well, you're not American. You're un-American to support people like overthrowing the government. I'm like, in all reality, there's really not much more American than
that's what the country was founded on.
Yeah, like we don't like having an overbearing power that's like, here's what you got to do. Here's what you're going to pay us. Like all this, it's like you are exactly what we fought to get away from.
Yes.
And so I don't know, man. I struggle with it because I'm like, where does the line draw? Like at some point the line has to be drawn. And I mean, the politicians have gotten so crooked. I mean, again, we're just the middle class here. We get the smoke. Like it's like, man, we're just getting smoked.
I've said it more times than I can count, and I've had dudes at work be like, nah, man, you're crazy. You know, you're reaching for that. And now they're all kind of like, you might be right. But I've said a million times, like, we inch every day closer and closer to another civil war.
I think so.
I think it's coming.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and I've heard like...
And I don't say that like I want it to happen.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to happen.
I think either you're going to have like basically an influx of politicians that are going to... And that's what... If I had to choose, like, all right, what is our weapon now? We got to get guys in political offices that are on the same page. Like that's
have a spine.
Yep, they got to have a spine. They can't be bought. That's what we got to get now. Like if we want to change this, we got to get people in office to change it. Like that's the only way we're going to do it.
Yeah.
But
that's the only peaceful way we're going to do it.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't know, man. Other than that, I mean, through Civil War and again, like so many guys are like, yes, the Boogaloo, and it's like, it wouldn't be this cool thing. Like it wouldn't be. I mean, there's if a war on our own home soil. There, you're talking like the possibility of like your children, like your home being blown up while your family's in there. Like, let's say you're not in there. There's a chance. I mean, back in the Civil War. I mean, those dudes would come home and their whole homestead would be burned to the ground and their kids would be dead. Their wife and kids were dead in there. Like, if you don't think about that, watch The Patriot. They like burned up the whole church. And I know that's a movie, but it's realistic what happened. They burned the church with all of the people in it.
Put everybody in the church and burn it down.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I have got to piss like a racehorse. I'm like dancing over here. Y'all are going to have to just hold up real quick. All right, we are back in action. Man, I was about to piss myself. I had to go bad. So that was a good time I needed to cool down anyways. I was getting mad just thinking about the taxes.
We're doing our taxes this weekend, and I have like crippling anxiety about it.
Man, I need to do mine. My lender sent me a thing today, my balance sheet to start updating it, and yeah, taxes, I always hate it because I'm so terribly unorganized that it's like a shit show when I have to get mine together. Cause
that's what my wife says. She's like, God, I hate this week. Just getting all her paperwork and everything together.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Every year I go into it and I'm like, this is the year. I'm going to be organized. I'm going to keep up with everything, and I'm going to make it real easy on myself.
Logan's putting on clown makeup while he says that.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, and then at the end of the year, it's like, damn, I sure wish this would have been that year, but it wasn't. Yeah, no. But yeah.
To kind of backtrack a little bit, talking about Wesley Snipes, that's another one. When I was a kid, when that like story came out, You're like, man, what an asshole. Wesley Snipes isn't paying his taxes, you know, like, what a dirtbag. And now as an adult, I'm like,
what a hero.
good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him. Wesley Snipes is the hero we need.
He is, yes. Yeah.
He's not the hero we deserve, but he's the one we need.
That's right. He is Batman. Yeah. No, I agree. And I think I remember the same. I was like, man, this dude's making millions on movies and he won't even pay his damn taxes. But again, I'm a kid at that point, and now I'm like, man, piss on these taxes. You know, like, man, that's bull crap. Like, one of my favorite things was, I mean, I loved it. It was hilarious whenever Trump was running, and Hillary is like, I bet Donald Trump didn't even pay a bit of taxes in so-and-so year. And he goes, you're right, Hillary, I didn't, because I used systems that you and your friends had put into place. And he said, and that just makes me smart for not paying taxes.
Yeah.
But he did it all legally. Like it. And so I'm like, man, do it. You know, like it makes me want to, like, I want to claim like 12 dependents. Like I wish look, if you're going to take my tax dollars throughout the year or different things like that, it's like, let me at least claim some of these people as dependents. Like if you're going to send my money
to Ukraine,
then I mean, I ought to be able to.
That's like 1 billion
I was going to say, that's a lot of dependents. Ought to get a hell of a return off of that. I don't know, man. We are the country. See, that's what I think. I'm like, all right, I look at everything tends to like operate as a pendulum. Like it, you know, when we were in the I would say when we were in the like, I don't know, in the 30s, you know, it was probably pretty hard to the right, you know, like you want to talk about gays back then, they just beat the shit out of you, you know, like, so, hey, you know, y'all can complain if we're kind of joking around about you a little bit on a podcast. At least we ain't coming to your house and beating the shit out of you. Like, get over it, you pansy. But like when the pendulum started to shift and you go to like, you know, the 60s and 70s, and that was like the sex experiment drug thing. And it's like, you know, the 80s and 90s, they were kind of weird. Like, I don't know, the pendulum like almost might have kind of just hesitated there a little bit because
like it teetered in the middle.
Yeah, like it didn't really go one way or the other. But then like now it's like picked up speed again, going back this other way. And it's really back to the like, I guess to the left. And it's gotten it's getting crazy to the left. Like, I mean, with the transgender thing, like the pedophile thing, I'm seeing more and more of this pedophile stuff. Like they're trying to make that mainstream, and like the drag shows they do with kids and all this stuff. And I'm like, what in the world? Yeah. And so, I mean, in my mind, the pendulum is like, man, it's like maxed out to the left. And so, you know, a piece of metal or whatever, it can only take so much torque before it snaps. So either the pendulum, the way I look at it, the pendulum's either it's going to snap, and that would be essentially the Civil War.
Civil War, yeah.
Like that would be the people being like, you know what? I've had it. These weirdos are shitting in my lawn. I'm about to burn their house down. And so like, that's when it would snap. Or there's also a part of me that's like, maybe it's so hard to the left. I mean, some of the younger generation, they're like, man, this shit's weird. Maybe it's about to break back to the right. I don't know. Like, that's the two options. It can't stay where it's at, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I had a conversation with a mutual buddy of ours the other day, and he was saying, like, how ridiculous is it that, like, all this stuff is, like, shoved down our throats, and it's been like this for a decade now, and doesn't seem to be slowing down. It's like, how ridiculous is it that this is going to be shoved down our throats so bad that, like, the kids, like our kids growing up, for them to have, like, their rebellious stage will be to be, like, conservative.
Yeah. And
be like, no, I don't want to do drugs, and no, I don't want to be gay, and no, I don't want to be around drag queens, and, like, that's going to be rebellious.
Yeah. No, that's what I've kind of said that. I think I've said that on the show before. Like, it's the punk rockers of the future are going to be the people that are like conservative.
Yeah.
Like you want to be a rebel. You want to be like an outsider, a rebel, kind of the renegade than be conservative.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, we were always like used to, that was the uptight guy, like people were trying to get away from. Now it's like, I mean, it is mainstream to be gay. It's mainstream to be gender fluid. Like all these things, they're mainstream. They're cool now. Like how, I mean,
well, look at all the damn drag shows they have.
Yep.
And you hear about the story time in the libraries with kids. And
I don't understand. I mean, I do understand. They're doing it to indoctrinate. I mean, it is indoctrination. Like we sound like the 700 Club or whatever it is, but they're indoctrinating your kids, damn it.
InfoWars.
Yeah. Like, then they're turning the frogs gay. Yeah. But dude, it really, that is what it is. I mean, we're really particular on what Emerson and Levi watch.
Yeah.
Like, if they're hanging out with me, it's usually Looney Tunes, Scooby-Doo, the old Scooby-Doo. People can say it's not appropriate, but Ren and Stimpy, I let them watch Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah, Ren and Stimpy is... Shit, I watched it, but as an adult now, you're like, God dang, this show is rough.
But it ain't indoctrinating my kids.
No.
Ren and Stimpy, I mean, and like, I let them watch stuff like that, but you have to be cautious because there are shows now, like, I don't remember, my nephew was watching a show one time when he was at my mom's house. She didn't know what it was, and she came through there, and the kid, it was a cartoon, the kid had two dads, and she was like, what is that? And he was like, oh, that's his dad's, and she's like, nah, and she like turned it off. And that's what I'm like, man, you have to watch, like, because man, if you can make it seem normal for a little kid, by the time they're grown up, hell, it ain't nothing.
No.
It ain't nothing to it.
That's actually what I was just about to say. We're pretty loose. We'll let our kid watch TV, when we're cooking dinner or just cleaning up around the house.
Yeah. Let him watch porn.
Yes. Only gay porn, though.
There you go. Yeah. That's right.
No, we'll let him, like, he bounces back and forth. We'll watch Coco Melon and God dang Baby Shark. He lives and breathes Baby Shark. But, like, he'll kind of bounce back and forth. He went through a Mickey Mouse phase, and then he went through a Spider-Man phase. But there was one, and I can't even remember what the hell the show was, but it was on TV. We were doing whatever, cooking dinner, and I think my wife actually noticed it. She was like, did you see this shit? And I was like, what? And she was like, they have two dads on this show. And we're like, we're going back to Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Which, not to go off on another tangent, but that Disney is the wholesome one in this.
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah,
is ridiculous, but yeah.
Well, I don't know, man. That's what it's. I feel like I feel like the tinfoil hat guy that's like, man, you got to protect your kids. You got to watch what your kids are watching. They're coming for your kids, kind of thing. But dude, they really are like, and they're not. They're coming at them from the standpoint of let's get in their minds now so that they'll be where we want them to be when they're older. I mean, that's where it is. Like, that's the point. Like, if we can get to them now, their minds are very impressionable. If they're little kids and they just see, oh, so-and-so has two dads, they're like, oh, okay. They just got two dads. They don't think anything about it. Me and you see it and we're like, what a couple of homos, like, but we grew up, there wasn't that. I mean, even like I've thought about that, like how different it is. Like we've been out of high school now. I was trying to think, what is it, like 13 years or something?
Yeah.
I don't remember. It's been like in the grand scheme of things, that's not that long.
Nope.
Like, but things are so different. Like, I'm like, boy, man, things are a lot different. Like, I'm be 32 this year. Man, things are so different than when I was 16. Like, the schools are different. Like, I mean, when we were in school, like, I don't know. It's just, it's how liberal the world has gotten. Like, it's going in the wrong direction. But again, it can only go so far. I mean, you see that throughout history. I mean, that was Rome essentially became a very liberal, sexualized society.
Yeah.
and that was the fall of Rome. Like
Yeah.
they lost their. I mean, when you lose your morals, people can say you're like, man, you know, you uptight kind of thing, but that is your foundation. I mean, when you get so loose, like these people that are so loose and so like whatever, they have literally no foundation. Like they don't. Like it's wild. I mean, I don't know where we go. I mean, I think, like I said, either it's going to break or we're going to see a swing come back. I don't know. I mean, all I know is I try to shoot regularly and be prepared.
See, we can go off on a tangent on that because that pisses me off too. Because I would shoot more, but it's too damn expensive to buy the ammo to shoot that much.
Ammo is terrible.
Yeah.
It is terrible. I will say, I order a lot from Canoe Club USA. They're 9mm, dude, 9mm and 5.56. I'll just order it randomly. I'll be like, hadn't ordered any in a little while. I'll just order some. I did just order some, and this is what hurts is the 338. Like I did just order some of it about 2 days ago.
Sure.
It was about $5 a round.
God dang.
That's not even like that's a pretty
Like basic.
that's a
round,
basic round. Like, you know, you get into the like long
match grade.
Yeah, they're like $7 or $8. I've seen them $10 a round, and I'm like, whoa, man. But you know, if we get in the crap, you know, I ain't splitting hairs with that thing. You know, if somebody comes up, you know, it's 700 yards, I can easily dot your I's with that thing. So, you know, my $5 rounds at 700 yards, and I mean, it's got the capabilities to shoot quite a bit further than that.
Yeah.
Like that Ryan Collector, when I told him about that gun, he was like, that's a 2-mile rifle.
Yeah.
So now I don't know if it is with a $5 round, but I can't shoot 2 miles, but hey man, I can shoot you from a long ways away.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just like, you know, a lot of it boils down to is the government has gotten too big. You know, we never should be in a position where it's like your fear of the government would be something where you would think like, oh, they'll just come into my house while I'm asleep at night and they'll duct tape my mouth and then they'll make me blow my brains out. Like, you know,
tells you that we've let this get too far.
Yes.
If you have that kind of fear, we've let this get too far.
Yeah, we have already given too much ground. Like, I mean, Biden has alluded to stuff like, you know, I'll never forget that time he was talking about
You're gonna need
AR-15s.
F-15s.
Yeah. It's like, dude, you are
like, you just basically said you're going to use weapons of war against your own people.
Yeah. But they've been, there's a lot of stuff they've been doing that would really be kind of almost paving the way for that. You know, they labeled a lot of the MAGA Republicans as domestic terrorists. I mean, you know, I had Mike Glover on the show, and, you know, he was put on a domestic terrorist watch list. You know that? Like,
I think you talked about it in that in that episode.
No, this was after. I didn't. This was after.
Maybe it was you telling me.
Like, afterwards. I got home and I was like, wow, man. Like, because he made a post shortly after I got back home. And he was talking about he had just found out that he was on a watch list and he was listed as a domestic terrorist. And he was like, I literally served in the armed forces killing terrorists for like 15 years. And he said, I worked for the CIA to fight terrorists. And he said, and now the same organization has listed me as a terrorist.
Yeah.
Like, he was going to sue them for it, like, against it. But it's like, man, I don't know. I mean, and my in-laws, they always joke around. Well, they're halfway joking, but they say that I am certainly on a watch list.
I've made that joke about myself before, and I might be.
Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of
might not be a joke.
I wear it somewhat with a badge of honor. Like, that's the shirt I need to put out, on a watch list or something like that.
I'll buy that one too.
I was gonna say, I like that, on a watch, like something to do with being on the government watch list. But man, I don't know. I mean, it's if any of the alphabet boys are listening to this episode, you heard Definitely. But you heard me say, like, the ideal thing would be we need guys to get into political offices. I think it might have been Eli Crane. You know, he won. I had him on the show, but he said we need to get guys, because I asked him, I was like, man, what can we do? And he was like, we need the guys to get into lower offices. He was like, everybody thinks about governor and senator. He was like, but realistically, start local. You know, go for, I mean, which we've got a conservative mayor here, but like, you know, look at your local offices where you can really get in there and make a difference and start, you know, if we can lay a very conservative foundation, I mean, you just build that thing, build it brick by brick. If we can lay a conservative foundation there and then you move up and you kind of keep that foundation in place and then you just keep working your way up, that, I think that's the way we got to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm not smart enough politically to have a coherent response to that, but the gist of it, yes, we need to have more people. Hell with it. It's like you said earlier, it's living fully loaded. Dan Crenshaw is like the biggest disappointment.
Oh man, he is
politician. Like, man, when that dude got elected, I was so happy, and now you're like, man, it's like I'm a nerd out. It's like Obi-Wan talking to Anakin. He's like, you were supposed to save us.
You were the chosen one.
Yeah.
I have the high ground, Anakin. Don't try it.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Crenshaw. Like, man. But yeah, we got to have people that are going to get in there and do what they need to do.
We do. Yeah. I mean,
that have a spine.
Yes. I mean, that's it. I feel like if you're going to get into politics now, you got a big burden to bear. If on the right side, I mean, if you're a shady turd and you get in there, I mean, you can fall right into the ranks. But like, you know, if you want to get in there and you truly believe, like, man, you know, look, I mean, if I don't get in here and make a difference, then it's gonna be a damn war and people are gonna die. Like, that is really the mindset we need these guys to have. Oh, and it's funny. I mean, I had a guy tell me, he was like, man, I can't wait for you to be the governor of Tennessee. I had a dude tell me that, and I was like, man, I said, I am not polished enough to be a politician like that. And I said, and I just don't think I could do it. But, I mean, and I don't say never, like, because if I felt like I was the man for the job, I guess I would try it. But like, and if nobody else will do it, maybe that's the way. Maybe I don't know. But we need people to stand up that just ain't afraid to stand up. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to, I mean, you can't be bought. You know, that's going to be the big thing. I mean, you're going to be potentially bought. I don't know, man. You know, that's why I'm rooting for Eli Crane. I mean, Eli is legit and he's a great dude. Now he's all the way in Arizona, but, Eli's awesome. And like, he was being bullied before he even won, you know, like they were like, you don't need to be, you know, you better chill out, you know, like telling him to calm down and all that stuff. And so I feel like it's a very one-sided game. Did you ever listen to, I actually really was trying to get him, I tried really hard to get him on the podcast, have not been able to land him. His name's Peter Schweizer. He wrote a book called Red Handed. Have you ever heard of it?
Mm-mm.
Well, it's a political book, and it's about all of the, like, American politicians that are in bed with China. And it's equally as bad Republican and Democrat.
I'm sure.
Like, and one of the worst ones is McCarthy. I think it was, I think it's McCarthy. Is he the one that's in Kentucky? I think it.
Oh,
no. McConnell. Yeah. McCarthy's the one that just got
turtle head.
Yes. I was going to say the guy looks like a turtle. Yeah. It's, McConnell. Mitch McConnell. He's actually married to a Chinese girl, and her family is like linked in tight with so he's linked into it. I'm pretty sure Bush and them were linked into it. The Clintons were linked into it. The Bidens are heavily linked into it. Like, it's, you read that book and like, I recommend reading it at the same time. I'm like, It's so disheartening.
I was about to say, that's got to be like a blow, like all these people that are in power.
Yeah. Especially like, all right, we're conservatives, you know, then he talks about the ties to some of the conservatives, and you're like, damn, man, you're like, nobody is any good. Like, none of them are any good. So it's just, that was the thing with Trump. You know, that's why, like, Trump disappointed me because, I mean, look, things were much better under him. But when he came in, he said he was going to drain the swamp. And I mean, and I realized the guy can only do so much, but I was like, man, I just wish we could clean house.
Yep.
Just clean house and just start new. And there needs to be there definitely needs to be term limits. I mean, like Biden, for example, well, he was a senator for like 40 years.
Yeah.
Like the guy hadn't had a real job. You know, back in the day when guys, here's what I would say. Like if I ever was going to run for political office, I would go into politics and then I'd do what I needed to do and then I'd get out. And that's what they used to do. Back in the day, guys were like farmers, carpenters. They would go do their term and then they would go back to the farm.
Yeah.
They weren't lifelong politicians.
Right. Well, you look at all the damn politicians we have now, like all of them, like middle class, upper middle class, whatever, when they get in and then like a year or two in, they're like multimillionaires.
Yeah. Yeah.
That shouldn't happen.
Yep.
Like that is, to me, problem number one. You shouldn't go be a politician and get filthy rich off of it.
No. Yeah. I mean, you're a public servant.
Yeah.
I mean, what did Obama entered office?
Obama was a bad one. Like he came out filthy rich after his presidency.
Wasn't his net worth, like when he went in, it might have been close to $1 million. When he got out, it was like 100 million or something. And you know, Trump, when he went in, he came out and he was like $1 billion less. Like he lost money. But which Bernie Sanders, that's where that one always tripped me out. Like Bernie was like, he was like driving Lamborghinis afterwards, and he'd be like, "Damn these rich people!" Like, you know,
like I saw someone. It might have been an interview or something. I can't even remember. It's been so long ago. But they were like, "Don't you have like 11 houses?"
Oh, dude, his net worth before he ran for president was like $30,000. It was like something terrible. He had nothing. I mean, it was probably like $300,000 or $400,000, and that's like all of his assets together. He had nothing. And after he ran for president, it was several million. Like, because he just kept his campaign, like whatever people donated, he just got it. So, like, it's like, dude, he ran for president. Of course, he's going to run as much as he can. He's making a few million every time he does.
That's what I've seen. It was like an article or something talking about that. Like, hell, if you want to get rich, just spew some bullshit and go run for president and you'll be a millionaire at the end of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just spew the shit people want to hear.
I used to always joked with Marcy and be like, I'm going to run for president one day. But I was like, well, you can't because you got to have served in the military. I always used to think you had to serve the military. And then for some reason, I always thought you had to have a bachelor's degree. You actually don't have to have either one of those. I know you don't have to have served now because, Trump never served, but even the bachelor's degree, I was like, you don't have to have that. But the problem with it is like a regular guy. I just don't see how a regular guy could ever be president.
You wouldn't have the financial backing.
Yeah.
Unless you took lobbyists.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the bad thing. You can't. Well, it costs like nearly $1 billion to run for president.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's crazy, guys. As we kind of near the end here, what's your advice? What's your words to the people?
Buy ammo.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say stock up on ammo. Stock up on ammo. And run for local offices.
Yeah.
Run for local offices. Like, I mean, man, get it. Even if it's something small, like you don't think, I'll be honest, like even the school board, run for that. Because, like, man.
I have friends that are teachers and they talk about what a shit show the school board is too.
Well, you think about it. Okay, our children, they're going to be the ones picking up the scraps. They're going to be the ones getting everything back in line. Why not try to get in there?
And that's the head of the indoctrination wing.
It is. That's what I'm saying. Why not get in there on the education side? I mean, that's why we send our kids to private school because I like their education system. I'm not like worried about the indoctrination of my kids, but the majority of kids go to public school. So it's like, man, why not try to get in on the school board? Try to get in there and have a voice and, try to be the change.
Yep.
That's all I got. Got anything else?
No.
Guys, appreciate you joining me.
Oh, good time. I always like it.
Of course. Well, y'all hit that like button, hit subscribe. We got extremely political on this episode. We are, if we weren't on a watch list beforehand, there's going to be probably I might notice some green lights out in the pasture, some people watching us.
Some guys out there with some nods.
Yeah, if you do not see any action out of me on Instagram or a podcast for quite some time, you might begin to suspect that something has happened. But please hit that like button, hit subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Share it with your friends. Comment below what you think of what we said. If you hate it, if you love it, if you want Brandon to run for president, let us know. And
if I do, the first thing I'm doing is not using a turn signal as instant death penalty.
I like it. I like that.
The first act I have.
And if you bright light me when I have fog lights on, then you need to just
instant death penalty.
Yes. Guys, appreciate y'all for tuning into the show. Leave us a rating and a review. Share it with your friends. Take care.
See y'all.